Hi guys, and welcome to T Squared. If you like this video anytime, leave a like and subscribe for more videos to come. And now, the history of Ferrari. Enzo Anselmo Ferrari was born on February 18, 1898 in Modena, Italy. His birth certificate had recorded his birth on February 20th because of a heavy snowstorm that had prevented his father from reporting his birth at the local registry office. He was the youngest of three brothers and had very little education. At the age of 10, he witnessed Felice Nazario's win at the 1908 Cirque di Bologna. I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher a lot of these names, but just give me a chance. It was that victory that inspired him to become a racing driver. During World War I, he was assigned to the 3rd Alpine Artillery Division of the Italian Army. There he served for 2 years until the 1918 flu pandemic consequently discharged him from the Italian service when he became very sick. Following his time in the service, he returned home to his family's carpentry business, which eventually went out of business, leaving Ferrari searching for a job in the automotive industry. He unsuccessfully volunteered his services to Fiat in Turin, until eventually settling for a job as a test driver for CMN, a Milan-based car manufacturer which redesigned used truck bodies into small passenger cars. He was later promoted to race car driver and made his competitive debut in the 1919 Parma Poggio di Barchetto, a hill climb race where he finished 4th in the 3-liter category at the wheel of a 2.3-liter 4-cylinder CMN. On November 23rd of the same year, he took part in the Targa Florio, but had to retire after his car's fuel tank developed a leak. The prancing horse emblem was created when Italian fighter pilot Francisco Baracca was shot down during World War I. Baracca gave Enzo Ferrari a necklace with a prancing horse on it prior to that takeoff. In memory of his death, Enzo Ferrari used the prancing horse to create the emblem that would become the world-famous Ferrari shield. However, the world first saw this emblem on an Alfa Romeo, as Ferrari was still tied up with Alfa Romeo. It was not until 1947 that the shield was first seen on a Ferrari. Back to 1924, Ferrari won the Coppa Cerbero at Pescara, a success that encouraged Alfa Romeo to offer him a chance to race in much more prestigious competitions. Deeply shocked by the death of Alfa Romeo driver Antonio Ascari in 1925, Ferrari turned down the opportunity to focus instead on the management and development of factory Alfa cars, eventually building up a team of over 40 drivers. Ferrari himself continued racing until 1932 before he left Alfa Romeo to found Scuderia Ferrari. Alfa Romeo agreed to partner Ferrari's racing team until 1933, when financial constraints forced them to withdraw their support. Despite the quality of Scuderia drivers, the team struggled to compete with Auto Union and Mercedes. In 1937, Alfa Romeo decided to regain full control of its racing division, retaining Ferrari as the sporting director. Unhappy with the arrangement, Ferrari left and founded Auto Avio Costruzioni, a company supplying parts to other racing teams. With the outbreak of World War II in 1943, Ferrari's factory was forced to undertake war production for Mussolini's fascist government. Following Allied bombings of the factory, Ferrari relocated from Modena to Maranello. At the end of the conflict, Ferrari decided to start making cars bearing his name and founded Ferrari SPA in 1947. The team's open-wheel debut took place in Turin in 1948, and the team's first win came later that year in the Largo di Garda. The team's first major victory came at the 1949 24 Hours of Le Mans, with a Ferrari 166M driven by Luigi Centeni and Peter Michael Thompson. In 1950, Ferrari enrolled in the newly born Formula One World Championship, and is the only team to remain continuously present since its introduction. Ferrari won his first Grand Prix with Jose Gonzalez at Silverstone in 1951. The first championship came in 1952 with Alberto Ascari, a task that was repeated 1 year later. In 1953, Ferrari made his only attempt at the Indianapolis 500. In order to finance his races, including Formula One and other events, the company started selling high-end sports cars. Ferrari's decision to continue racing in the Mille Miglia brought the company new victories and greatly increased public recognition. However, with increasing speeds, poor roads, and non-existent crowd protection, it eventually spelled disaster for both the race and Ferrari. During the 1957 Mille Miglia, a 4-liter Ferrari 335S driven by Alfonso Portago was traveling at over 150 miles an hour when he blew a tire and crashed into a roadside crowd. The crash resulted in the death of Portago, his co-driver, 9 spectators, 5 of whom were children. In response to the crash, Enzo Ferrari and Engelbert, the tire manufacturer, were both charged with manslaughter in a lengthy criminal prosecution that was finally dismissed in 1961. By the end of the 1960s, increasing financial difficulties as well as the problem of racing in many categories and having to meet new safety and clean air emissions requirements for road car production and development caused Enzo Ferrari to start looking for a business partner. In 1969, Ferrari sold 50% of his company to Fiat, with the caveat that he would remain 100% in control of all racing activities, and that Fiat would pay a sizable subsidy till his death for use of his Maranello and Modena production plants. Ferrari had previously offered Ford the opportunity to buy the firm in 1963 for $18 million, but withdrew his offer once he realized that he would not be able to retain independent control of the company racing program. Ferrari became a joint stock and Fiat took small shares in 1965, and then in 1969 they increased their holding to 50% of the company. In 1989, Fiat's holding rose to 90%. Following the agreement with Fiat, Ferrari stepped down as managing director of the road car division in 1971. In 1974, Ferrari appointed Luca Montezemolo as sporting director and Formula One team manager. Montezemolo eventually assumed the presidency of Ferrari in 1992 and held that position until September of 2014. Despite winning championships in 1974, 1975, 1977, and 1979, the company's Formula One championships hopes slowly fell down the tubes. In 1981, Ferrari attempted to revive his team's fortunes by switching to turbocharged engines. In 1982, the second turbocharged Ferrari was born. It was called the 126C2, and it showed great promise. Unfortunately, the driver of the turbocharged Ferrari, Didier Pironi, had his career cut short after he hit a Renault driver during a race and his car flipped, ending his career as a result. Because Pironi had to sit out the rest of the races, Scuderia ended up losing the championships for that year, and did not see another championship victory until Enzo Ferrari's death in 1988. Enzo Ferrari died on the 14th of August in 1988 in Maranello at the age of 90. His death was not made public until 2 days later, as by Enzo's request to compensate for his late registration of his birth. Before he died, he witnessed the launch of the Ferrari F40, one of the greatest road cars of all time. The car was dedicated to him as a symbol of all of his achievements. But in 2002, the first car to be named after him was launched, the Enzo Ferrari. The Italian Grand Prix was held just weeks after Ferrari's death, and as a result, his team finished first and second. It was the only race that McLaren did not win that season. After his death, the Scuderia Ferrari team has had further success, winning World Drivers' Championships in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, and 2004, and 2007. That's going to be it for today's video, guys. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments below. If you have any ideas of videos you want to see, then leave it in the comments below as well. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my videos. It means a lot. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next video.